Below the infinite Atlantic Ocean rests possibly the greatest mystery of humankind. A civilization so advanced, so grand, that it has held our imagination for more than 2,000 years. Its name is whispered through the ages, Atlantis. But was this mythic empire just a figment of one philosopher's imagination? Or was there perhaps truth lost within the myth? Now we explore the mystery that has sent 1,000 quests. This is the tale of Atlantis, where myth and possibility collide, and where myth and reality become intricately blended. Our tale starts in the marble palaces of ancient Athens, where the greatest mind of the ancient world was on the verge of giving birth to a legend that would survive empires. Plato, in approximately 360 BCE, wrote two dialogues that would resound through time, the Timaeus and the Critias. He wasn't just philosophizing. He was telling a story so evocative that it would persuade generations of its truth. There, Plato spoke through Critias, and he told a tale that had been handed down through the centuries, a tale told first by an Egyptian priest to Solon, a famous Athenian statesman lawgiver. In it, the priest described a period 9,000 years ago, when the world was young and unlike what it is today. Beyond the Pillars of Hercules, the priest had told him, which is the Strait of Gibraltar, there stretched an island bigger than Libya and Asia put together. On this island, there flourished a civilization that would dwarf great Athens. Atlantis was an engineering wonder and a tribute to its loveliness. Imagine a ring-shaped island with alternating rings of land and sea, linked by tunnels and bridges. At its center was a grand temple to Poseidon, whose walls were covered in gold, silver, and the enigmatic metal orichalcum. The Atlanteans were the offspring of Poseidon and a mortal woman named Cleito. They were arrogant, highly developed human beings who had conquered land and sea. Their fleets controlled the Mediterranean, their wisdom was superior to everyone else, and their riches were unimaginable. But here is our first enigma. Why would Plato include such specific information? He situated Atlantis exactly in time and place, and detailed its government and war machine. Was this fantasy, or was Plato remembering something old and true? Atlantis wasn't originally a warning story. It began as utopia. For generations, the Atlanteans remained at peace with Poseidon's divine right. They were merely rulers, great warriors, and creative builders. The island was favored by the gods. Coveted rocks quarried out of its very center, constructed temples that appeared to reach heaven. Hot and cold springs offered healing waters. Exotic gardens filled the air with heady perfumes. The sea itself had been tamed by the Atlanteans. Their harbors were home to fleets of thousands. They had mastered metallurgy beyond anything previously known, forging weapons out of orichalcum that shone like fire taken captive. But power corrupts even the greatest of souls. Through generations, Atlantean veins thickened with divine blood, and wisdom waned. The righteous empire came to crave more land, wealth, dominion. They directed their civilization towards conquest. They overflowed the Mediterranean like a wave of bronze, taking over lands as far away as Egypt and Italy. Only Athens, led by Athena herself, dared oppose their expansion. With implausible odds, the Athenians drove back the invasion, demonstrating that virtue might overcome the force of brutality. But the gods weren't done yet with Atlantis. Within one day and night of unexampled ferocity, the earth rose against Atlantean pride. Earthquakes broke their ideal circles. Volcanic fires darkened day into night. And finally, in the final divine retribution, the sea rolled up and engulfed the whole civilization. Narrator VO. Within a day and night, Atlantis sank beneath the waves into the depths of the sea. A whole civilization, more civilized than any that would come afterward for thousands of years, was lost to the sea. The location was transformed into an impassable muddy shoal, warning later mariners of the cost of divine anger. Was this it, or just the beginning of humanity's greatest enigma? For 2,000 years, Plato's account stood as a philosophical allegory. Most scholars believed Atlantis was simply the philosopher's imagination, a vehicle for discussing political philosophy. But as human knowledge expanded, so did curiosity about the lost civilization. The age of discovery brought fresh urgency. When Europeans arrived in the Americas, some were left to ask themselves, might these continents be joined to Atlantis? The advanced Aztecs and Inca civilizations, advanced farming and monumental architecture, seemed to resonate with Atlantean prowess. In 1882, Ignatius Donnelly wrote Atlantis, the Antediluvian World, advancing the thesis that Plato's description had been a historical account. Donnelly suggested Atlantis was the origin of all ancient cultures, the mother culture from which Egyptian pyramids, Mayan temples, and European megaliths evolved. The 20th century introduced fresh tools and ideas. Sophisticated sonar unveiled ocean floor complexity. Underwater archaeology became a reality. Suddenly, the impossible had become the improbable. Modern-day Atlantis explorers use satellite technology, deep-sea submersibles, and computer analysis. Their finds have been astonishing. In the Mediterranean Sea, scientists discovered the remains of sophisticated Bronze Age civilizations consistent with Plato's accounts. The Minoan civilization of Crete, with its complex palace structures and advanced plumbing, thrived until 1450 BCE, when it vanished mysteriously. More fascinating is the ancient Thera, Santorini, which suffered one of history's deadliest volcanic eruptions in about 1600 BCE. The blast was heard halfway around the Mediterranean. The tsunami that followed ravaged coastal societies. Could the fate of Thera be the ancient germ upon which Plato based his story? The dates fit Egyptian records of catastrophes. The size is consistent with Atlantean destruction accounts. The sophisticated Minoan civilization has very similar similarities to Plato's description. But Santorini is only one of many possibilities. Other scientists refer to submerged land off the coast of Spain, where underwater formations indicate artificial design. The Azores Plateau indicates having been above sea level during the last ice age. Sonar in the Caribbean discloses structured formations on the floor of the ocean. New findings indicate that ice age sea levels were nothing short of staggering. Large land masses now covered with ocean were dry land back then, supporting civilizations we're just now starting to grasp. Geology today informs us that Plato's chronology puts Atlantis during the post-glacial times, when enormous environmental upheaval rearranged the globe. When ice caps melted, sea levels rose by hundreds of feet, inundating the entire continental shelves. Archaeological findings verify that advanced civilizations were in existence much earlier than thought. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, built more than 11,000 years ago, features advanced religious architecture predating agriculture. If there were such civilizations, why not one as advanced as Atlantis? Genetic research indicates ancient migration linking far-off civilizations, similar to the worldwide impact Plato attributed to Atlantis. Bronze Age commercial networks were much broader than previously thought. Climate science indicates that the ancient world witnessed sudden, cataclysmic changes. The Younger Dryas Age witnessed sudden climate changes that might have wiped out advanced civilizations, and all that remained were myths about them. We've spent decades looking and generating theories in our thousands, and now we're in a peculiar place. We have no conclusive evidence that Plato's Atlantis existed, but we have no evidence that it didn't exist either. What we do know is an increasing realization that the ancient world was much more complex and sophisticated than was previously thought. Civilizations existed and vanished, barely leaving any trace. Catastrophic disasters could wipe out entire cultures in a night. Sea levels fluctuated wildly, submerging populated lands under waves. Maybe above all, Plato was also a diligent historian who appreciated exactness. When he asserted his version derived from Egyptian priests, custodians of the ancient world's most precise records, he called upon sources that were reputed for precision in history. But maybe questioning Atlantis' historical reality misses a deeper truth. Whether or not Plato's empire existed physically, it has existed in human consciousness for 2 millennia. It represents our deepest aspirations and greatest fears, the dream of perfect civilization and the nightmare of its destruction. Now, in the face of our civilizational threats, Atlantis speaks more strongly than ever. We are maybe the first generation with actual technological potential to locate Atlantis, if indeed Atlantis exists. Our satellites chart ocean floors, submersibles probe the deepest trenches, and computers examine giant databases for hidden patterns. But we're also the first generation that may become Atlantis ourselves, a civilization so advanced it forgets moral basis, so mighty it unleashes its demise. The quest goes on not only in ocean depths, but in the depths of understanding. Each archaeological find, each underwater exploration breakthrough, each new fragment of ancient evidence helps unravel this mystery. One day, maybe, a submersible will light up circular harbor ruins. One day, maybe, satellites will find Atlantean structures under layer after layer of sediment. One day, maybe, genetic sampling will uncover the signature of a lost world in our genes. Or maybe we'll find that Atlantis was destined to be discovered in human potential, a reminder that we can build paradise and destroy it with equal ease. The sea guards its secrets well, but man's curiosity goes deeper than any trench, and our need for truth is hotter than orichalcum. Atlantis beckons across the centuries, whispering, "What if? What do you make of it? Do you think Atlantis was real, or is it all just Plato's fantasy? Have we uncovered hints in Santorini and elsewhere, or are we looking for myth?" Share your ideas in the comments below. If you like this ancient enigma, subscribe to more historical mysteries. Ring that notification bell for our next adventure into the unknown. Watch our Lost Civilizations playlist for more lost cultures that fire our imagination. The quest for truth never stops, and all of our viewers get us one step closer to solving the secrets of the past. Until next time, keep wondering, keep asking questions, and keep exploring our world's wondrous mysteries.